Who lost their business?
Oh my God, Mary Mushkin. Someone bought the building that opened up at their mechanic shop.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, the mayor has no control over that. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's a DOJ problem.
So they've been operating their mechanic shop there, and then someone goes and buys the building when it comes available.
Yep.
Damn, some people got no decorum, huh?
Yeah. Everyone's so fucking greedy and selfish nowadays. It's crazy. I never.
Yeah, I agree.
It's frustrating.
People have no patience, Nino.
No, they don't. It's just like me. Doesn't matter if you're a cop. Doesn't matter if you're a fucking criminal. Everyone's got fucking AC/DC. It's like, how do I get something right now?
The cops are worse than the criminals. I'm gonna be honest with you. They refuse to ever admit they're wrong.
No.
You want to hear what made me quit being an attorney?
Probably some retarded argument that some cop brought up.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was. So some guy got shot and then robbed. Now the guy claimed he had a weapon on him. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now they found the guy that shot him and robbed him, and then they charged him for theft of a weapon that they don't even know ever existed. And I was like, how can you guys charge him with that?
Bro.
I was like, how can you? And then I was like, how are you guys going to charge him with that when you can't even prove the gun? Like, why not try and get a warrant signed?
Yeah.
Go search his shit or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they were probably like, no, we're going to charge him, beep, bop, boop, boop, and then just bring it to court, take fucking 6 weeks. Fucking, I'm going to tell you right now, Pred, is, like, yesterday I had it after this whole situation with Marlo and the mask. Like, yes, Marlo didn't, well, Marlo gets in a traffic stop. He's identified as Marlo, right? The cop calls him Marlo. Marlo produces an ID. He doesn't want to take his mask off. So the cop has full authority to charge him with disobeying because he has a right to identify him. But when Marlo's asked to step out of the vehicle and lets himself be put into cuffs, the officer doesn't unmask him, brings him down to the police station, gives a, you know, fingerprinting, all that kind of shit. At no point did they take the mask off till the very end, down in the cells. And I asked the guy, I'm like, you know that your entire basis for the lawful order goes out the window when you didn't take his mask off right then and there. Because every reason for why you need to take the mask off, you just pretty much showed that you didn't need to, right? Could he ran away? Could he have gotten shot? Who was the suspect? And I asked him, I'm like, what? Just because you could push these charges, why would you? This is how things escalate, right? This is how distrust
People
happens.
Don't understand. People don't understand they have to uphold the public trust sometimes, and that doesn't mean leniency, but that means sometimes just not being a dick.
Yeah, like if they pull back, you pull back. That's inherently de-escalation. And this fucking brainlet of a cop, like, is just like, well, actually, according to my SOP, Vincent, suck my dick. I hope he gets fired. So
Vincent, suck my dick.
Yeah, I don't know what his last name is. It's like Vincent something. Gosh. And so I've got no patience for that. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, this whole, like, attack on Mission Row PD pisses me off, too. Like, it threw away, you know what I mean? Like, whatever argument needed to happen and the route, like, you know, storming the courthouse is one thing. Shooting up the cops is another. But on the same end of the spectrum, it's like some of these cops genuinely think it's like red versus blue. And yeah,
it's always been like that, Nino.
No, come on.
I you know what? It hasn't always been like that, but now it just seems some people are different, but nowadays it seems like it's more like that than ever.
Yeah.
There's no arguing with the police.
No, it's like, because and that's the frustrating thing. It's like you could present like an argument and there's like this deflection of, well, I'm too dumb to have a counter argument, so bring it to court. And it's like, fuck you. I hope you die and get fired.
Yeah, it's like talking
that's where
to
the
a
state
fucking
marshals are going to come in.
So, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's the case. I maybe I'm a little like, you know, I'll see it when I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing. My impression was state marshals were like making sure that odd things, like there's no overstepping in public. Are they going to be like reviewing cases like I just described?
I would imagine they're going to be investigating everything that gets brought to them about the police and then trying to solve it. That's what I would imagine is going to happen. I would imagine that if there is something that's perceived as a right violation, that they're going to try and correct that. Whether that be the legal route or just the authoritarian or authoritative route, we're saying, hey, you can't do that, bitch. Sometimes you don't need to send everybody to jail. Sometimes you do need to slap someone around a little bit so they get the point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think a lot of that art has lost. I will say that there's a lot of really good officers in the LSPD, but there's a lot of brainlets that bring them down. I mean, think about it. You know, all it takes is, it's like you said, it's public perception. You know, one person acts like a dumb cunt, escalates things unnecessarily. It's not unreasonable for that party to feel like it's the PD, like it's normal way of operating, you know?
Because the leadership at the top doesn't really, you know, I mean, Barrick was a good cop. You know, Barrick was one of mine. I always liked Barrick. He was in my my Paleto Bay Sheriff's Office in CPD and stuff. He was a good cop.
Yeah.
He just doesn't scream leadership to me.
Yeah, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he wants to do. I just don't think he has the balls to make people cry when they need to. I think people are too afraid of like hurting someone's feelings. And the fact of the matter is they don't see that if someone is you know, being tyrannical, that it's okay to break them down. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, poor thing, you just fucking stepped on all those that person's rights, but I don't want to make you feel bad. No, suck my fucking dick.
What are your plans for like the PD and stuff? Because I came up with a whole bunch of stuff because I was gonna run for mayor, but my heart was never really in it. You know, I had a pretty decent system that I wouldn't mind giving you.
Yeah,
I don't expect anything from you.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it.
Okay, I mean, so shifts can be monitored. You know, that officers pool. Let's say that if a cop pulls 4 3-hour shifts or 3 4-hour shifts in a week or something, then they get a bonus. If they do 4 consecutive shifts, they get a bonus. If they do 5 consecutive shifts at a 4-hour minimum, they get a bonus. You know, you should really institute a bonus system to get more cops into the street, because that seems like it's always the issue, right? Everybody's complaining. There's not enough cops. There's not enough cops. So then you implement a system that rewards them coming on duty and doing their job. And it's not like it's not like the arrest they make. It's just about the time that they commit.
So the problem is that right now the pay for PD is so high that they're driving around as multimillionaires. And so the money incentive is like it's some of the economy's already fucked. I don't even know. And you can't, you know, drain personal bank accounts of police officers, right, to counteract it. The other thing is having
tax them.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, the thing is, if the problem now is that there's some that are loaded and there's some that are not. So doing a across the board tax it's kind of like collective punishment, you know?
You got to look at it this way. You tax them so that you can fund them.
Yeah. From what I've gathered so far is that they have recruited so many new officers, yet they keep losing. And they keep...
That's leadership, man.
It's absolutely. And the question keeps coming back, oh, it's a morale issue. And when I ask the question, and this is why I 1000% agree that it's leadership, is when I ask, what can be done in order to solve it? If I made you chief of police, what do you do to solve it? I get like brainlet answers like, we need faster cars. Like, brother, you're not going to, faster cars are not going to increase the morale, because you're inherently saying that the cops that you're hiring are like fucking Pog Chase Andes that just want to fucking go around speeding fast, shooting and arresting folks. You know, like it's like that doesn't bring you people. Like you want them to come on duty because they feel welcome, because they're not being asked. You're not asking them to do stupid shit like, you know, run into a gang of 6 people with guns and escalate into a shootout.
If someone has to teach the cops how to be cops. It isn't just about, you know, responding to calls and chasing stuff. There's a lot more to it than that, which is why I'm anti stop and go. I believe the traffic stop is, I believe the traffic stop is the root of all foundation for policing. Believe that, you know, I was able to get a lot of arrests because of, you know, things like stop and go. I mean, I'm not existing. I'm a big fan. Like, I know, like, you know, people
That's
think
a good argument.
stoplights are a hindrance, but I like the absence of stop and go. From a police perspective and from a civilian perspective, like, yeah, running red lights is annoying, but then it's just like I just look over my shoulder to make sure there's no cop around, and I just go anyway. It's not a big deal.
I'm glad you brought this up. I'm gonna reconsider reinstating it.
Yeah, you should think about it. I mean, you could always just put it to a vote too, but I mean, you know, at the same time, I mean, stop and go is, I think stop and go is a system that hurts. Same with legalizing jaywalking. I like all that stuff being illegal.
The problem is though, Pred, like, how do I?
Leads to good natural stops. You know what I mean, in the environment rather than just responding to calls. It's the root. It's the fundamentals of everything, I believe.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Makes the more organic stops in the world means cops are responding less to, like, going to balls getting all flustered over drug calls and shit. I don't mean turn signals. Turn signals should never be mandatory, but
yeah, no,
you know,
I would agree.
I'm just giving you my purview of, like, the whole situation. Stop and go is more harmful than good by a bajillion, because then cops get all amped up.
The problem is, I think what you're suggesting, I think would work. As long as people treat those not like the way Marlo is treated. And Marlo's a prick. I know he can be, you know? But
that's where the marshals come in. I mean, imagine this. Imagine you have a few active marshals, all right, that are headstrong on, you know, correcting police behavior or fucking, you know, sending cops to jail over this dumb shit. And, you know, a cop, you know, a marshal comes and takes care of business, or even a marshal takes a bench trial and, you know, deems it, you know, unlawful, you know, the stop, or like unlawful the actions that they took. And, you know, it'll be you know, you need a lot of moving pieces. You need more judges around so you can get bench trials. When I was a lawyer, I would request bench trials all the time, Nino. I think I set a record for 15 requested bench trials without getting one.
Jesus.
That shit's frustrating. You know, that shit's...
Oh, yeah.
You know, you gotta have your judges. You gotta have your magistrate judges that can overlook shit. And then you gotta have people who are, like, if they are going to be a magistrate judge, like, let's say for example, I'm a magistrate judge, all right? If I believe something should go to court, I pause the trial right then and there, and I say, hey, send this to a real judge. You know what I mean? But if it's something stupid like the Marlo thing, then you just correct it. But if it is an actual court case, then you're allowed to go to a judge.
Is that actually going to happen? Like, do you know if that's what will marshals have that authority? Or is it kind of like,
I mean, I read
this
the
is what
stuff.
you're hoping?
The stuff's down there for you to read. You can read it all.
I guess, like, when I read it, my interpretation of it was more what's happening outside. I'm gonna take a look at it again. I didn't realize that there was you could, like, actually monitor, like, police interactions.
Damn, that's I mean, monitoring police interactions, like, the basis of investigation. You know what I mean? You're gonna monitor the people that you're looking into. If you have an internal affairs that, you know, operates through the state and has, like, the authority and the capability to, you know, take action in the field and shit, but without being overboard, then, you know, everything actually gets done.
Yeah.
It's not about just like going up and say, what are you doing that's unlawful? I'm putting you in cuffs. It's about, you know, fucking them up and correcting behavior. And then if there's a repeated pattern, then you take them to court and you have all the witnesses,
Yeah.
including the marshal
I'm
and
gonna
stuff like
take
that,
a look at this again.
and the people that are the victims of that person. And then there's legal actions and ramifications against them. Depending on like the nature of the crime. You know, if a cop's going around there beating people up and robbing them, that's a little bit different than someone telling somebody to get out of a car and not understanding, you know, a no mask mandate and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. I think to go back to your original question, I'm likely going to be setting policy to begin and then letting the police operate for like 3 weeks. Because the thing is, I've come to realize I can keep talking to officers till my face is blue, but it's not possible
Some of them's
until
like
I'm
talking
there.
to a wall.
Oh, some of them I've already put on my shit list. If you can't hold a conversation, you're too dumb to be more than an officer. It's hard to assess like who's glazing, who's trying to like, you know, get position, and who's speaking honestly. So I've come to the conclusion that, you know, let them run for like 3 weeks. I'll be in a position where I can actually see what's going on in the, you know, from the inside. And then I'm going to base chief of police on that. I'm just hoping that I don't get pushed to pick one out of the blue, because then you might as well spin a wheel, right?
You know, all right, so there's two options, right? You got the option where you pick police chief. All right, so here's the thing, right? You got to think logically.
Thank you for 4
months. If you end up
months.
picking a police chief, Nino, that's going to sway a lot of the police vote against you in the future if you plan on running for a second term, if you do get elected. Right? If you allow them to pick their own police chief, you just get more of the same old bullshit.
True.
Right? So you have to pick your poison there. But who knows? If you pick a good enough person as police
Right,
chief,
I don't think there's enough
then
cops to vote against me. That's the thing. Maybe back in the day, the PD vote mattered. What? There's like fucking 6 cops sometimes. Who the fuck's going to be around to vote?
The PD voted how I told them to vote back in the day.
Yeah. You know.
That's how that went.
Yeah.
But I think, you know something? I like a lot of the stuff that you're doing, Nino. I think you got a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
I think that instead of giving them 3 weeks, how long is your term? 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
I'd give them 2 weeks when you get in. Make so that they have to bust their ass a little bit and prove shit to you.
Yeah, I may do something like that. I think the reason I landed on 3 is I think the first week where there's going to be a lot to like take in, right? Like even
tons.
And then there's going to be like you know, 2 weeks is enough that they so they can put on a face for 2 weeks. But by that 3rd week, that face is going to start, you know, the makeup's going to fall off.
No, you're right. I was gonna bring something up to you, you know, but I'm having a little bit of a brain fart at the moment. Kind of important too. Fuck.
Lawyers?
No, I was gonna ask you about. So, all right. Obviously, people weren't a big fan of Max's counsel, right? That's
no, they were fucking dog shit.
So
objectively.
So but something like that is important, right? Like people get elected in the city, but you know what? Doing those meetings behind closed doors, I think, is what people had an issue with. People weren't able to schedule meetings and show up to these and be in the know on what's going on.
Yep.
So
all that is changing.
Are you planning on doing a council and keeping it public, or are you going to do a Roman-style Senate?
No. Well, kind of. So I want to enact selectmen. I haven't yet decided if it's going to be region-based or not, but the idea is, so East Coast has selectmen. I know UK's got aldermen, and the idea is there'll be representative votes. People put their names up. You can vote for your representative, and they will. Stage 1 is that they're going to be the voice for their constituents. If it doesn't turn out to be some SBS bullshit, they're going to have a vote. So there'll be 3 votes for the selectmen and then 2 for the mayor's office. So I do not want the mayor to have absolute legislative power, because otherwise it just becomes city council part 2. That way too, like the police department, for example, can petition for a singular selectman, and now they have a representative for him, you know? Or like, let's say an area of the city puts a selectman up, now they got a representative. So
yeah. And then you're gonna do public stuff instead of having it be behind closed doors.
All public.
You know what I mean? So that,
Everything's
the public. So the public can actually attend, and you can take questions from the crowd and ideas from the crowd in real time. And you know what the only downside is about something like that? Though? The meetings are gonna be forever. Are gonna be very long.
No. I look. I'm gonna shoot straight. There's lower level of IQ in Los Santos than 5 years ago. People want me. It's in the same way that when I get a text message like this fucking dumb cunt sends me a message like, what are you going to do for me as mayor? I told them, look at the website. What is it that you want? Right? I don't have time for this, like, hand me out Andes, you know? If someone wants to make legislative change, the DOJ has a way to do it. I want to empower the lawyers to be legislators. They have a way to go down that means. I'm not going to be like a door where someone comes knocking, they're like, please give me, sir. I'm going to say, suck my dick. There's a mayor right there. Help propose something. You know, spend an hour of your time, get some legislation together. And I think...
You're going to be doing deputy mayors?
There'll be a cabinet, but not really a deputy, so to speak.
Yeah, keep that title for yourself. You can have your constituents, you know what I mean? Like this fuck right here.
Yeah. Oh, Rick? Yeah. No, he's good. The problem
Rick
is we
is a
lost a lot of good... We lost a lot of good lawyers.
You're a fucking dipshit, Rick, but I like you.
Yeah, I appreciate
You're
it.
kind of smart, honestly.
I think you said I was like something in book smart, but like socially dumb, or I don't remember. But
yeah, I said you were book smart, but you lacked social skills.
oh, that was a long time ago when I was a paralegal. Things have changed, you know. A lot of personal growth.
I did a bench trial actually with Slick Rick. Oh, not a bench trial. It was an actual trial. He was there.
Well, I forget what we did it for, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing I look at it, Pride, like compared to the last administration, is a lot of the legislation was just, it didn't develop things forward, right? You know, there was little things here and there that just, there was way too many holes, right? And I think the foundation needs to be strong enough that when a lawyer goes up and defends themselves, or a citizen goes and defends themselves, they can do so. I think the whole concept of like gray area turned into like gray fucking pool of argument, which means it leaves the PD being able to arrest someone off nothing, and then it leaves them, the citizen, questioning what they did wrong.
Most of the warrants are bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, most of the people that approve warrants for the police are bullshit.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you a prime example. Half of my clients were getting charged with criminal negligence of a firearm. And the reason was that some of them would go and report it to the police as they were told they had to do. But the PD had like an internal decision of like, well, you have to get the report number and you got a FOIA to make sure we did it right. And it was so bad that even Crane's dumbass was saying like, that's what they got to do. While subsequently for 7 months, FOIA wasn't a legally protected right. And I did tell that fucking piece of shit, bro, Crane lost his fucking mind. I swear to God. I hope he dies. This guy, it's like little shit. I want you to put that into perspective. That the Chief Justice was like, FOIA doesn't need to be in legislation. People should just know what to do. Bitch, that's why legislation exists.
The FOIA process was asinine as fuck. I had to submit FOIAs out the ass all the time and resubmit them all the time. the average return of a FOIA would not be 5 days. It'd take them weeks to get them to me. It was so bad that I was thinking about filing a class action against them.
Yeah, I was thinking, so that's why I'm running for mayor, right? It's because fucking Fiona. This all started because Fiona got forced into becoming a hostage by the PD. The PD wouldn't give me a report. And then this fucking dumbass of a dispatcher told me that the statement that Fiona made right then could not be given to me for 5 whole days. Like, how brain dead is that logic? That they need 5 days to give me the statement that's being written in front of me.
Brother,
like, it's
brother,
so
the worst
stupid.
was when, do you want to know what the worst was? The cops wouldn't even share photographic evidence with me when I was down there in the cells representing my clients. They said, I can only show you this if we go to bench.
Yeah, it's because
I was like, it was awful. It was awful.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm also still annoyed by like warrants being some like hidden kind of bullshit. The argument I got for, I figured, look, I got FOIA into legislation. That's a win for now. I'll tackle the next thing. Is the argument is so bad faith. It's that there is a 1% chance that something might turn into a big investigation. So therefore they can't give the information out. When the reality is that these motherfuckers are too lazy to put a fucking statement in and assess what needs to be made hidden or not. Like, people don't understand. Like, people should be able to go down in the cells, argue, and figure it out there instead of filling the docket with a bunch of dog shit.
Exactly.
Arguments. It's just annoying.
I would tell them. I remember one time I was talking to Slacks when he was a captain. I was like, "You guys are pressing this charge. It's a closed case, right?" He said, "Yeah." And then I'd be like, "All right, can you just give me the report then?"
Yeah.
He'd be like, "No, you have to wait 5 days."
Oh, bro, I would have not been mad. That Slacks is a dumbass.
Oh, a lot of them are stupid. Yeah, but Slacks is upper echelon when it comes to. I mean, sometimes I would talk to Slacks and he would do things like share photographic evidence with me, and even he would try to. There was a point in time when I convinced him that he did, to share reports with me about charges he was pressing about my clients, but it never went beyond him, which was an issue. And I bring it up to him all the time, like, "Hey, I need to be able to see photographs. I need to be able to see these reports. I'm the goddamn like you were literally withholding evidence from me.
Yeah,
you are literally, a roadblock in me doing my job and represent in me. You are the causation of why I can't properly represent my client right now and defend them.
Oh yeah.
Therefore, you're violating their rights."
I had a client left in cells for 20 minutes, dying, and when I started like screaming for help, to get the medics down, and I had an officer staring, the cop started yelling at me. Like, I look, yeah, there's brain leakage with, I think what's happening is, I get SOPs, I get, procedures.
Standard operating procedures ain't the law.
They're not the law. And unfortunately, some of these, like, from the hip answers people aren't using their fucking brain to be like, why am I saying this? They're just saying it because they're like conditioned to respond a certain way. Irrespective of how shit it makes everything. I mean, if 90% of things could be discussed in the cells and they could just give you the report as they should, because, and I made this argument to Crane, right? And he was a big reason for a lot of this mess. Is I would tell him, like, look, why would a police officer that is pressing charges on someone that's in the cells right then and there, which means that they have the probable cause, which means the report has the photos and the evidence and the statements needed to press the charges, why would they not be able to produce it right then and there? If they cannot, inherently there is no PC. And the only response was yabba dabba doo.
You want to know what the worst part was? A lot of the cops were lying to me about having photographs of handoffs for drug sales on the clients that I was representing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I believe it.
The big mistake that I made in those situations is not suing them.
Yeah.
But no,
No,
but,
I
I- but I was
agree.
confident that nothing would have happened if I sued them. So I just said fuck it. I guess this is how it is.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. I think that's how a lot of these things started happening. Is no one should be afraid to speak up towards injustice, because it is the lack of speaking up that kind of has put
Yep.
things into
Just-
the situation it is today. And I don't give a
But
fuck
then
if someone
it's-
gets
it's also the
teary-eyed. They could suck my
expectation-
dick.
It's also the expectation that something will be done about it while the police higher ups don't do anything about it. That's why
Oh,
the state steps in and corrects the behavior themselves.
brother, fucking I'll tell you right now, it's fucking over now. But we had a guy that went and second in command of a big gang who came and told the PD all kinds of info. The guy spilled more beans than I've ever seen in my fucking life. And the head of the detective unit,
They have a detective unit.
they pretend they are, ended up getting the guy killed.
How did he get him killed?
Because they took their fucking safe house key away because he wouldn't cooperate. It's insane.
He took away the so he killed him.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize that
Yeah.
that was kind of like not what you should do.
No, exactly.
Can I tell you something that's always bothered me about court?
Yeah.
I've always thought that testimony on the stand should be way more paramount and impactful than statements that you take, like maybe on a scene. Like, let's say I'm on the scene of a shooting, I talk to you, you say, "Oh, I saw Slick Rick shoot that guy." All right, so I use, I'm using this to investigate Slick Rick, and then it goes to court, and then you take the stand and say, "Yeah, Slick Rick shot that guy." I've always thought that stuff is kind of like paramount, because it never made sense to me how the word, there's really no point in having a witness take the stand, because the word is just as valuable in the report instead of it being stand to like impact the case.
My understanding is it's because court cases
People lie.
would drag on for like 6+ hours, so they limited witnesses to 2 per side, and then elevated the
Yeah,
statement.
I'm not a fan of
but-
that. I like sometimes court cases sometimes court cases are serious and they go on for a while, and if you don't want to
Yeah.
be there the whole time, then just don't take it to court.
But see,
You know
the
what I
thing
mean?
is, like, I would agree with that with like big court cases, but the problem is that you'd have some bullshit case that went for 6. I think it wouldn't be as bad if cops like literally had to write their statement before going to the next thing. I feel like that's the root cause, because if motherfuckers, I want you to put this into perspective, is that the FOIA is produced now. I mean, it's better than it was before, but even today, it's that they produce it 3 days upon the request, which means you have people that are trying to recall scenarios from 3 weeks ago, as if those statements
Yep.
should hold any water. It's so logically defunct. I like, how do you explain to someone that's stupid, that doesn't make any sense?
Yeah, that's one thing I always noticed too, is that a cop would put this bland statement in a report and then go there and fucking tell a completely different like so much more information on the stand.
Yeah.
Or they would have a huge statement and then tell such
Yep.
a lackluster story in comparison. Like it's strange.
Yeah. Well, look, I have a lot of Brad, I don't want to keep you too long, but I have I would not be running for mayor if I didn't. I don't want to do this, straight up. I was hoping someone else competent would run and I could just back them. Because I think the next 3 months are going to be fucking dog shit. And there's going to be a lot of tears. And,
There's always lots of tears. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you do. There's always going to be tears, Nino.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's, I want this place to thrive. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully I can keep it to 3 months, and then I can go on vacation.
Or you Or you don't feel 3 months is enough, and then you have to do it for 6.
Yeah, hopefully not. I think as long as the foundations are there, we can get someone a more poo-poo pee-pee mayor in place.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes, man, you can lay the perfect foundation, perfect framework for everything, and then you can have faith in someone to continue it, but then they just end up fucking it all up because it ain't you behind the wheel of the, steering the ship anymore.
Yeah, well, as long as I can practice law without this bullshit, I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be. I mean, the city would be thankful if you got that, that rolling at least in your mayorship, making lawyers like Slick Rick not hate their job and hate the community because of it.
Not wrong.
Yeah, I do hate both.
Yep, you see, he hates both.
Uh,
But I'll get out of your hair, Nino. It was nice talking to you.
I'm always available. Any ideas you come up with or whatever,
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff.
All right.
Hey,
you doing,
Brad.
Slick?
Bye,
Alright.
Slick Rick. Bye, Nino.